Welcome to Shop Talk. This is going to be just a talking video. I'm maybe taking a sip off my coffee. This is the sheath I'm working on for Fred Ward up in Alaska. Does he know Sarah Palin? And I'm going to finish this up today and tomorrow, which will be Monday. I don't know when you'll see this video, but I'll be able to ship this tomorrow with the 3 knives for Doug, Errol, and Red that I have all boxed up and ready to go. And this will be ready to go. So here's what I wanted to talk about. First, I have made some real important to me, they may not be earth-shattering to you, decisions. You know, in my mind, I have been pining for a 2x72 belt grinder. And I have thought, I have researched, I have gone to websites of the manufacturers who make these. I've done comparisons, I've read reviews, I've consulted other people who have 2x72s and asked them what they thought about the brand that they have after a couple of years' use. And finally, I realized that the Jet 2x42 that I have makes the knives that I make in more than sufficient manner. It does everything that I am capable of doing, and a 2x72 would only allow me to do a couple of other things that I cannot do on my 2x42. But since I have really narrowed down the knives I make and what my 2x42 does not do, I have a Makita die grinder with various size drums and sanding drums that fit in the die grinder. I can do with that. So I'm not going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a 2x72 setup. So then I started thinking about an electric kiln to heat treat my knives and temper them. And the reason is, in a gas-powered forge, you can experience something called decarburization. And what that is some of the carbon leaking out and getting burned off from the steel while you're heat treating it. And it happens. I'm going to cough. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I hadn't been up too long. I usually drink 4 cups of coffee before I come out here. And I drank 2 because I got a late start today and I'm down here. This is my 3rd, so my morning routine takes a little while to get through. So, and a kiln is about, $1,500-$1,800. And then I'd have to run a 220 line outside. So, add another couple $100 for the wire and a receptacle and somebody skinny who could crawl up underneath my trailer and drag a wire out to where I would put the kiln. So what I really need, and the only reason I want it, is to prevent decarburization from occurring on the steel when I'm heat treating it. And then I realized that there is another way, and it's something called tool wrap. It's stainless steel. It's sort of like aluminum foil, but it's stainless steel. And you make these airtight pouches out of stainless steel. You fold them over at the edges and you put your knife in it and you seal it up and you put it in the forge, and it prevents decarburization from happening. Now the tool wrap is kind of expensive. It's, 60, 70, 80 bucks for I don't even know if it's 20 feet, a roll. But I added it up and it would cost me about $3 or $4 per knife to do that. And man, I'd have to make a lot of knives to offset the cost of an electric kiln. So I'm not going to buy an electric kiln. And I feel pretty good about this decision. There's really no tool in my knife shop that I need to replace. And I've even decided that in the event that my Jet 2x42 quits working, wears out, I'll just buy another Jet. It's $400. I can replace that every couple of years if I had to, and still, it'd be years and years of making knives before I would offset the cost of a 2x72 belt grinder. So I am going to stick with the tools I got, which is leading me up to the next subject. The knives that I do make, the BC Special, the Dinner Skinner, the neck knife, I put lots and lots of trial and error, and I have to keep in mind what my machines are capable of doing, what I'm capable of doing with my machines when I design a knife. So I've had 3 people so far want something that I don't sell. And I'll start with the first person, who is or was a subscriber, and he asked me to build a knife of his design, and without even thinking about it, I agreed. So he sent me a pattern, and then we didn't discuss sheath before I agreed to do it, and he sent it to me, and then another email, he wanted a Kydex sheath. Okay, well, I don't do Kydex sheaths for anything but my neck knives, and the reason is the belt clips for Kydex sheaths are expensive, and I don't want to take the time to buy a one-off buckle for Kydex, because Kydex sheaths for my belt knives are not something I'm interested in making, and I wouldn't have agreed to do it if I had known he wanted a Kydex sheath. Well, anyway, I had committed, so I decided I'd just buy the buckle, and I'd figure out a way to make a Kydex sheath for a belt knife. And then I saw his design. He sent me his design, and he sent me a check for $75, or a money order. And I cashed the money order, and I shouldn't have done that, but I did, because I didn't know if you could return a money order. So I'll get to that in a minute. And when I seen the pattern, I was really questioning whether it was something I could do on my machines. And then I realized that I had bit off more than I could chew. I got the blade cut out. I had found some nice wood. I got the pins cut. And then I realized that none of my machines fit the contours that he wanted on his knife. And at that time, I had orders for knives that I do make. And I boxed it up. I sent him a handwritten letter apologizing. It was all my fault. I bit off more than I could chew. I was not prepared at this time to make a Kydex sheath for a belt knife. I sent him the knife that I'd cut out. I sent him the wood. I sent him the pins. I went to the post office and got the same money order that he sent me. And I wrote a handwritten letter explaining why I couldn't do it. I'm going to cough again. Hold on. So I mailed it all back to him, and he used to be a frequent comment on every video. And since then, I haven't had a comment from him. So I guess I pissed him off. And I'm really sorry. It was my mistake, and I'm only human. I bit off more than I could chew. I agreed to do something I couldn't do, and I'm very sorry for that. You know who you are. And then another friend of mine who has been, a friend. I have his phone number. He has my phone number. He wanted me to make a knife that in a way that I don't make them. And I explained as politely as I could why that I don't make them that way. And so I kind of think he got mad too. And I'm real sorry. The knives that I make and the sheaths that I make, I've put a lot of thought and work and refining and redesigning into them. So the knives work on my machines, and the sheaths are within my skill level. I mean, there are reasons you don't see on my end of it. I know you want what you want when you want it. And that might work for other people who are smarter than me. I steer a lot of people to my friend Ricky Wallace. Ricky Wallace has lots of experience, and he specializes in custom one-offs, and that's his thing. He's been making knives a lot longer than I have. So I steer people to him when they want something that I don't make, or they want it in a way that I don't make it. And today, I had somebody else wanting me to sell them a knife in a way that I don't make them. You don't understand. When I buy steel, I have divided into that steel how much money I need to make out of it, and I can't afford to cut something out of a piece of steel that I can make $75 off. And I mean, I have plans for every piece of steel I have, and I cannot and I will not deviate from the knives that I make and the fashion that I make them, because I have things pretty much figured down to the penny. This shop has to be self-sufficient and self-supporting. And that's why I don't deviate from what I make. So if I don't have a knife that you like in the way that you want it, just don't order. Maybe someday I will, or you can contact me, and I will send you to my friend Ricky. I'll send you his website. I'll send you his YouTube channel, and I know he would make whatever you want, because that's what he specializes in. So, no hard feelings to anybody that's wanted something I don't make, but that's the decision I have come to, and I don't know how to be any more polite about it than that. I put a lot of thought and work into the knives that I have, and when I make these knives, I consider the tools I have. I consider what I need to make from the steel that I buy and the components that go into making them into a knife. I mean, I have to account for the cost of belts and sandpaper, and even my shipping is figured into it. So, anyway, no hard feelings. I hope it doesn't make people mad that I'm just not willing to make anything that I don't make now, because it's taken me this long to refine the process, and I am finally happy with all the knives I do make. I'm happy with their style. I'm happy with their sheaths, and it's taken me 3 years to get where I'm at with this, and that's just all there is to it. So I am going to buy a tool coming up. It's going to be a Jet 1 horsepower buffer. It's $400, and I got to sell another knife or two before I can buy it. Okay, I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to finish Fred's sheath. And today we're grilling outside on a barbecue. We may do a little fishing. See ya. Okay, Fred. I'm fixing to hit this with some two-tone dye. I just wanted to show you my sewing. My edge. Alright, let me get my airbrush cranked up, and we'll put the final touch on this sheet. Okay, Fred, I gotta get your address and send this to you. That's a sheath I'm proud of. I never should have let that go with the sheath I sent it with. And thanks for calling it to my attention that it didn't fit right. I didn't feel good about it. Right after I put it in the post office, sent it to you, I was thinking I probably should have done a better job on that sheath, and I felt bad about it ever since. So this is one I'm proud of. Okay, coming to you. My God, I am just loving this two-tone sheath. It just makes everything look better. It looks antique and worn, and I don't know, it just adds flair, that it just adds a detail that, I don't know, I just like it. Okay, I'm done. Have a good week, y'all.